I can only speak from my experience. I can only speak from my experience of being in the jails I was in as well. Kind of obviously, I can't talk about every single jail in the UK, but in my experience, there's not that many. Uh, there's probably a few living undercover that are ashamed for whatever reason, and that's their own problem in their own head. Um, it's like life, isn't it? It's each to their own. But genuinely, you don't. I never see that many gay men in prison. I didn't. Um, there was a there was a the one that actually there was a man that I don't want to offend people with my language here. It's just the way I talk, but she looked like a woman. This one in Pentonville. She was on the numbers saying that, yeah, on protection. And we only see her on if we was on a visit, she'd come up to her visit. But the first time I ever see her, I'm saying her automatically because she literally looked like she come out of the visits, and I thought it was a visitor, like had a woman's top on and jeans, yeah, but it looked like a woman, like for all intents and purposes, mate. Uh, yeah, but she was always on a number, so like I keep saying she anyway. But was she on there? Was she on the numbers, which is protection? Was she on protection because she was scared because she literally looked like a woman, or because of her crime? I don't know. I'm not saying because she was gay that she was in for some naughty crime. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying why was she on the numbers? Um, there was a gay boy. He was a youngster as well in Stockton. All the one, like I said, all the gay, all the men that was not on protection, like all the normal location, just got on fine. No one really cares. Even if people do, they keep it to themselves on the whole. They really do. People genuinely don't really care. Uh, gay boy in Stockton, young lad. He was young. I only really used to see him like the whole like going from place to place in Stockton. Someone mentioned it earlier in a comment to me about the distance that you had to go to, like the med stats and all that stuff, and it was literally miles. You'd walk for like 10 minutes just to get anywhere. And I used to like sneak off the wing as well at night to go to like go to exercise, outside exercise with the other wings, because like my mate was on there. Mate, you'd walk for time. You'd leave when it was late daylight and come back when it was night. It was ridiculous. But yeah, I didn't really see him like crossing paths like that, really. But people should try and like make him seem like feel like uncomfortable. Do you know, like whistle at him or something, yeah, and like try and make him walk with his head down. But he'd always come back with like a witty remark and all that. He never took anything, so to speak. But he actually got caught with some old biker. Some old biker. Jenny was an old biker. I remember that. I chatted to the geezer a couple of times. Some old biker who's doing life. He'd been in jail a few years by this point. He'd worked his way to a CCAT, and he got caught with this boy in the chapel in the wherever he got caught with him. Like, you know what I mean? Getting his knob polished. Mm, mm, mm. Can you blame the lifer? How long was he in jail for, man? 20 years, 30 years? Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, it was weird because I used to see the life even after all that come out. The lifer never got shipped out because the lifer was on my wing. I think the other kid got shipped out, and well, either way, I'm not sure about the other kid, but the lifer didn't get shipped out. And I used to see him on a visit like afterwards with his I don't know. I'm presuming it was his wife and daughter and all that. Definitely his daughter. I'm thinking, do they know what he was getting up to? You can't blame him though, can you? Cross-dresser in Bedford. It's some like Vietnamese. I'm presuming it's Vietnamese geezer. He used to like wear like the women's vests with like basically like the women. It was women's jeans, but he had a full beard. Like he had a women's haircut from behind, standing there he did, with his women's clothes on. You might think it was a woman if he wasn't in prison. You know what I mean? You're standing there waiting to get your chips, and you're not thinking you're standing behind a bird. You know what I mean? But when he turned around, he had a full beard. I think he did that because he thought, well, I'm keeping, in case anybody's that way inclined in there, they're not going to come near me if I've got a full beard. Yeah. Well, there was a couple of little Vietnamese people in Bedford that were like that, saying that, but this one was on my wing. There was two geezers that was in a relationship in Bedford. One of them was married, had kids, the lot. And the other geezer was openly gay. Was openly gay. Come into prison, was gay, and was living in prison as gay. He got into a relationship with this geezer and moved into his cell, and was fully living like a couple in Bedford, going to the library together. Geezer was getting his dinner for him, and the geezer used to go out on a visit afterwards to go and see his wife and his kids. Weird behaviour, and he wasn't a lifer. He was nowhere near a lifer. He was doing like a 2 for burglary or something. That fella, the one that was openly gay, he got I have to use the word that rhymes with it. Aereate. What rhymes with aereate? Graped. But he walked past the cell one day. There was a geezer in there. Just grabbed him, pulled him in, and just whatever you want to call it, just done it there and then. Got caught, got taken down the block for it, and stayed there for the duration. I was talking to a geezer before in Chelmsford on the yard. No, might have been Pentonville. I was on the yard and he was on E-wing. I was on the yard on G-wing, so I was out on the yard, and E-wing, I could talk to people on E-wing in their cells. Talking to this geezer, and he was a little geezer. This fella, he was 5'5", say, tiny. Telling me about the time he was banged up with this geezer. It's like fat geezer, big geezer, and he woke up. Just woke up. That's how he woke up, like, you know what I mean, like woke up like that with the geezer's arm. And I'm only talking in code because I have to for this platform. But woke up like that, and the geezer was trying to put his trousers down, really, basically, you know what I mean? Had a thing in his hand, like, but the geezer, like, this little fella fought him off, and the fella he was talking about, everyone knows what he's about. Everyone knows it was true, because he wasn't the only one that he'd done that to, and he'd been successful to other people. Another reason not to go to jail. They're the sort of people you do run into very occasionally, very, very occasionally. But not the gay people, Jesus. But the man from the last story, the person that was, weirdos. There are weirdos about. If you enjoyed that, hit subscribe, and we'll chat tomorrow. Adios.